Hello and welcome back to TLDW, the show where I sum up movies in a short amount of time. Today we're going to be doing Mission Impossible in time for Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, which is like 10 movies in the future. But that's fine, this one's definitely relevant. Kittredge is in the next one, and Kittredge is in this one. It's relevant, I promise. I didn't just watch this movie and expense it on my tax reports. Let's go. So we've got the IMF team. Where are they all? We've got Tom Cruise, that's his name. We've got Jim Phelps, he's in charge. I've forgotten these two names. It's not because they're women. It's Hannah and Sarah. It's because they've got very similar names. And we've got Claire and Jack. They're doing a mission because they're trying to catch... Oh, fuck. Didn't get a picture of Galitzin. This is what Galitzin looks like. This is who they're trying to catch. Oh, editing. Fun. They are trying to stop this man called Galitzin from acquiring the knock list, which is essentially a list of agents and their secret identities. And if the bad guys get the list, they know where all the IMF agents are, and then the IMF agents get fucking killed. Also, fun fact, and this is a really weird, it's funny because last week there was a paedophile. These two are married. He's in his 50s, she's clearly like 19. They're married though, and there is a point in the movie where he's like, I thought you'd fall for her because I've tasted the goods. And I'm like, that's a disgusting thing to say about your wife. Fucking grim. He disguises as a senator. They all infiltrate this place and sneak in. They get in before Galitzin. They set up a camera so they can catch Galitzin stealing it so they can arrest him. That's why they're doing this. But then they've done that and it starts going wrong. Jack gets fucking impaled on an elevator shaft. He's dead. Then Hannah gets in a car and gets blown up. She's dead. Sarah gets shivved in an alleyway. She's dead. Jim Phelps gets shot on a bridge. He's dead. Claire's also probably dead, but we don't see her die. Tom Cruise is the last survivor, and he's stressed. Gets on the blower, calls his boss, and he's like, my team's dead. And he's like, that's rough. Do you want to come talk about it? He's like, I would actually. So they go to a nice little underwater pub. And by underwater, I mean there's just a lot of fish tanks in it. It's not actually underwater. So this is the boss, it's Kittredge. I actually really love this character. I think he's fucking great in this movie. He's pretty useless as a spy leader, but I love him anyway. Look at him, he's such a fucking... So it turns out they have this little meeting, they have a chat, and it turns out the whole operation was a sting operation to try and find a mole in the IMF. And because Cruise is the only survivor, Kittredge is like, it's probably you, mate. And he's like, yeah, but it's not though. So what he does, oh, I forgot to mention earlier, Jack made some explosive gum. And now he's using the explosive gum to blow up the water restaurant. He runs out while the water's flooding in. It's quite visually spectacular. Apparently, an extra was knocked unconscious during the filming of that from the pressure of the water, which is pretty crazy. So he goes back to the safe house and he's like, right, time to figure out what's going on. Kittredge told him that the mole is selling the information to an arms dealer called Max. So he's like, let's try and get in touch with Max. So yeah, at one point he does send an email to max.com, which is just fantastic, isn't it? What a fantastic email address to have as an arms dealer called Max. But then he gets a bit EP, gets a bit sleepy. Guess who shows up? Oh, where's she gone? It's Claire. So yeah, he thinks she's a traitor. She's obviously not because, you know. So he decides to come up with a plan where he's going to steal the actual knock list because the one that Galitzin stole was a fake. So he's like, I'm going to steal the actual knock list from the IMF HQ and then take it to Max, and then Max will give me the mole, the traitor, which is not a bad plan. So he decides to set up a meeting with Max using the Book of Job. He literally communicates with the Book of Job discussion group. Book of Job discussion group? Yeah, that's it. So he goes to meet Max. This is Max. She's lovely. She's very, I'm a rich woman. And I enjoy that quite a bit. Tells her that the knock list she has is fake, and she's like, not sure. Finds out it is fake, and she's like, all right, you're in. If you steal me the actual knock list, I'll give you 10 million, and you can meet the traitor. And he's like, sick, I'll go do that. So he goes to put together a team. So the team is Tom Cruise, Claire, Krieger, filthy Frenchman, and Luther, hacker extraordinaire. So they're going to team up and they're going to go to Langley, which is the IMF HQ, and they're going to rob it. And they're going to do a hell of a great job. I'm pretty sure I just summed this up by saying they do it. Oh, I've got a note. So Cruise explains how difficult the mission is and goes through everything. And then it seems like the mission is impossible. But it's not. because they do it. They manage to get in there, they get their knock list, and they get out. And this is where that iconic, like, descending from the ceiling by the ropes, I would do it, but we don't have a ceiling or ropes, so we can't do that. Oh yeah, Kittredge was there as well. He's a bit sus. He's a bit sus on the whole thing, but he doesn't quite catch them. He doesn't quite figure it out. But they know the knock list has been stolen. Back to the safe house. They're in a safe house. They're in London in a safe house. Krieger is a bit of a dick. So Krieger's like, look, I've got the knock list here. I'm in charge now. And Cruz is like, what about this? Pulls out another one. So he throws his knock list in the bin and leaves. But then Tom Cruise is like, oh, he had the real one, but I managed to bluff him out of it. And hands it over to Luther. And he says to Luther, it's your responsibility to make sure that Max doesn't actually share the information she gets, because it will kill so many people. So he goes to make a phone call, yells at Kittredge for a bit, does it for just long enough that they can't trace exactly where he is, but they know he's in London. And Kittredge is like, maybe he did this intentionally, very interesting, not sure. And then, guess who's also at the phone booth? It's Jim Phelps. And he's like, let's have a quick chat, Tom Cruise, we're gonna have a quick chat. So Jim Phelps says, Kittredge shot me. And then they talk about like how Kittredge must have shot or killed all the other members of the team. But then as they're explaining it, we see it was Jim Phelps the whole time. Tom Cruise knows, but he's not laying on yet, that Jim Phelps is the bad guy because he wanted money, which is fair because they're getting 60 grand a year to basically save the world every week. And I would want more. If I was saving the world, I mean, this is also in the 90s, so 60 grand is like 150 or something. I don't know, inflation's weird. So, convinces Phelps to basically chill out because he's still got a bullet in him, or claims to have a bullet in him, and be like, look, you go to the safe house, you chill there after we've left, don't let anyone see that you're still alive, and because otherwise they'll think it's you. And he's like, yeah, I'll do that, cool. So now we're gonna go on a train, and fucking everyone's on this train. This is the IMF team. Krieger's off over here. He's flying a helicopter somewhere. They call Max and they're like, check this out. And then give her the thing. There's also another thing. Kittredge is also on the train because Tom Cruise sends him a letter that has all the tickets in them. And he's like, cool, I'll get on this train real quick, that's fine. So everyone's on the train, except for Krieger, he's flying a helicopter. Max is given the disc with the knock list on it, but Luther's doing a little cheeky hack with his phone. It's a really blocky phone, it's very funny. So yeah, he's blocking the transfer with his phone. It's like a jamming signal. She gives Tom Cruise the information on where the money is. He makes his way over there. He tells Claire, get yourself over to the baggage car, because that's where it is. And she's like, okay. When she goes in, guess who sat there? It's Jim Phelps. And she's like, look, we don't have to kill Tom Cruise. We just take the money and run. Everyone will blame Tom Cruise, it's fine. We're a team, remember? You and me, we're married and we love each other, and we're also a team in this conspiracy. And he just goes, interesting. What if I was not Jim Phelps? What if I was Tom Cruise wearing a Jim Phelps mask? Wow. So now he knows she's in on it. But then actual Jim Phelps comes out and is like, lol, you knew, didn't you, the whole time? And he's like, yeah, I did know. And he's like, all right, well, cop this. He shoots his wife and then runs up a roof and beats the shit out of Tom Cruise as he goes. So he's on the roof of the train, and guess who's coming to help? By the way, Krieger's also a traitor. They're on the roof, he's bringing a helicopter in to grab good old Jim Phelps, and Tom Cruise is like, no, ain't having that. He does a very cool thing I like to do, tying a helicopter to a fast-moving train. After a bit of jiggery-pokery, as I like to call it, manages to kick Phelps into the bottom of the helicopter, and that's enough to basically just crash the helicopter and obliterate both of these men. They are dead as fuck. There's, like, Phelps gets crushed into pieces, and Krieger gets literally exploded, and none of that's fun. So, of all the pictures I had, most of them are on the floor now. It's quite sad, isn't it? So yeah, those two are dead. They managed to stop the data being transferred. They arrest Max. Fucking Kittredge arrests them. Then these lovely two, they're having a little pint together, and Tom Cruise is like, you know what? I'm gonna go home with my family. I'm gonna spend some time with my family. I'm not gonna do my Mission Impossibles anymore. And then he gets on a plane, and then he gets given a little recording that's like Mission Impossible 2, maybe? And that was Mission Impossible in a very short amount of time, actually. That was a good time. I do hope you enjoyed, and if you have any ideas for films you want us to cover, please leave them down below. Most of the schedule's filled out, but you know, there's always space for extra ones because it's fun. It's fun to do these stupid things. Anyway, that's all from me, and all from everyone else in this room. Goodbye. Please go away now. I have taxes to fraud.